Hey, I'm Randy Akers with Georgetown County Parks and Recreation. Welcome to another episode of The Parent's Guide to Video Games. In today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about how your child might be consuming media regarding video games without your knowledge or without even playing them. If you have a child who's already interested in video games, then you've probably heard some names like Ninja, Tfue, Dr. Lupo, Courage JD, Pokimane, and PewDiePie, to name a few. Even if you have a child who's not interested in video games, if they have a smartphone, they can potentially access content made by these and other live streamers. Video game live streaming websites such as Twitch.tv, Mixer, YouTube, and Facebook Gaming have really become popular in the past several years. Games like Fortnite have not only been lucrative for their creator, Epic Games, they've also been lucrative for a whole host of content creators on these websites. These creators vary from people who are just good entertainers to also people who are exceptionally good at the games they're playing. For example, Epic Games' Fortnite, which we talked about in an earlier video, hosted the very first Fortnite World Cup in 2019, which was won by a then 16-year-old who goes by the name of Booga. The top prize for this World Cup, you might be surprised to learn, was $3 million. Fortnite also regularly features in-game tournaments where players can compete for real-world cash. Gamers have more opportunities to make money than just from competing in the games that we've talked about in this series. Each of the websites I mentioned earlier have a feature where people can subscribe to their favorite content creator for a set fee. This fee is usually monthly and recurs on a subscription type basis, just like you would subscribe to something like Netflix. The flashier and more entertaining the content is on these channels, the more likely the viewer is to want to subscribe. Most streamers also promote their channel as a community and push subscribing as a way to maintain a certain status in that community. And what kid does not want to feel like they're included or part of a group? Streaming can be a very lucrative business, with some of the more popular streamers making tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars a month from their content. Another thing to be aware of is that these live streams are not rated in the same way that TV shows might be rated. They typically don't come with a content warning, so parents don't really have a way to pre-screen these live streams to find out whether or not they're always going to be appropriate for their child. It's not like on a TV show where you might see a TVMA or a TVG at the start of each episode. And not only could the streamer be acting or speaking in a manner that you might not want your child exposed to, they could also be playing a game that you might not want your child to be exposed to. You could take some time to pre-screen someone that your child is interested in watching, see that they're playing a more kid-friendly game like Minecraft on one day, decide that that streamer's probably okay, and then the next day they might be playing a very mature horror game like Outlast, which is entirely inappropriate for young children. As the name implies, these are live streams, which means things are happening in the moment and anything can happen at any time. They're unscripted, and the streamer can say or do anything at any time they want to. The streamer can also choose to start playing one game, which you might think is fine, and then halfway through the live stream decide to start playing another game. Now, none of this is to say that you should never let your child watch a live streamer because you never know what might happen, or that you should never let your child subscribe to a streamer if they feel particularly strongly about doing so. There are several streamers out there who strive to create family-friendly content that can be enjoyed either just by kids or by kids and their families, and if that sort of thing is important to you, you might consider allowing your child to subscribe to that person if you give them an allowance to do so. These streamers, I find, are typically more genuine in their desire to create a positive community where people of all ages can come together and play video games and bond over video games in a way that is both positive and constructive for everybody involved. Really, the most important thing to remember here is to just be cognizant of the content your child is consuming. Just like you would if you were buying them a new video game, you want to do your research into the streamers and content creators that they're interested in. Let's also talk a little bit about YouTube. Not only is video game content live at all hours of the day on various live streaming websites, most live streaming content creators will simply upload their content to websites like YouTube to be monetized and reach more people than they might reach through their typical live stream. Again, this content generally does not come with any parental warnings or content labels, so it's important to make sure that this content is appropriate for your child before allowing them to consume it. Some of the more popular streamers will typically take content directly from their live stream and upload that to YouTube without much, if any, editing at all. There are some content creators who are more solely dedicated to professionally edited, scripted videos on YouTube, and these can usually be lighter on questionable or objectionable content. For example, if your child is really into Minecraft, you may have already heard of creators like Mumbo Jumbo, and these are the kinds of creators who tend to focus on a more traditional, episodic-like content than the live streamers do. Finally, let's talk about why your child might be interested in this kind of content. First and foremost, it's a safe bet that most of their friends are probably consuming this type of content already. They probably have a favorite streamer or a favorite content creator, so your child may feel like they need or have to watch that person so they can fit in with the crowd. Like I said earlier, what kid doesn't want to be part of a group? Second, if your child is already playing video games, they might want to watch these content creators for the thrill of seeing people who are at the top of their game play these games. It's the same reason that if you like football, you might watch the NFL on Sundays. You want to see athletes competing at the very top of their game, at the very apex of their game. That's why kids want to watch live streamers. They want to watch people who are exceptionally good at playing video games in the same way that we want to watch professional athletes play professional sports. Finally, watching some creators like Mumbo Jumbo that I mentioned previously might give your child creative ideas for new things to try while they're playing video games. Mumbo Jumbo is considered to be one of the more advanced Minecraft players in the entire world, so watching people like that may inspire your child to be a little bit more creative in their playtime as well. All in all, this video should hopefully serve as a reminder to just be cognizant of what your child is consuming, and also to be cognizant that your child doesn't necessarily need to play a video game in order to be exposed to that game. I hope this video has been helpful and taught you some things about how children can consume content regarding video games without you knowing, or without actually playing them. So take some time to talk to your child about what an appropriate role model looks like, and take some time to investigate what types of content they might be consuming while you're not around. If nothing else, you might find that this will be a good bonding experience for you and your child simply by showing interest in something that may interest them. This is the last video in this series. We hope you've had a great time watching and learning about video games with us. It's been a personal passion project of mine to kind of explore how video games can be a more positive impact in people's lives, and I hope that this video series has kind of done that a little bit. You know, in my opinion, video games sometimes often get a bad rap for things that they may not necessarily be responsible for. So it's my hope that you will take some time, learn about some of the things that your kids might be interested in. If you are not interested in video games, or if you have no experience with video games, do some research into studies that have been done on the effects of video games on both kids and adults, and kind of learn for yourself what video games might actually have to offer. There's a lot of modern video games that are much more advanced than the games you might have played as a child. As I mentioned with the Legend of Zelda series, these games can be almost indistinguishable from art sometimes. Not every game is a Call of Duty shooter where you're going around and hurting people. There are lots of video games out there where you can help people, you can be positive, you can learn how to work as a team in a positive fashion. So make sure while we've got this time, while you're at home, while the kids can't, maybe can't go anywhere or do anything with their friends like they normally can, see if we can use these types of avenues to help them learn about the things that they might be missing out on through organized team sports during this time. Again, we hope you've had a really fun time watching this video series. If you like what you've seen here, please let us know. Until the next time, we'll see you. Bye-bye.